Oh, hello there. Yes, well, I hope you're enjoying the beginning to Easter in that goodly Christian way. Hopefully, anyway. Yes, we can enjoy these last few days whilst Western civilization crumbles around us. And we had another big story about that happening yesterday. Yes. Now, you might be thinking there's lots of things going on in the world, and indeed they are, but the biggie, obviously, was, apparently young children, very, very young children, are being chained to desks and being forced to absorb Wokist history. Yes, we had this in the Telegraph View from yesterday. History is being rewritten by woke ideologues yet again. Yes, as if 79 times this year wasn't bad enough, there's another one, yes, for our schools to traduce, good word, the memory of a young woman who died for God and France is to add insult to injury, yes, and the Daily Telegraph's making a great deal of that yesterday, so it's worthwhile perhaps, me being as a teacher, if you can dive into this and see just how nefarious the whole thing is. So, Joan of Arc was non-binary school children taught, yes, so there you go, they're being taught that, you notice, taught, definitely, I'm sure there's no problems with it whatsoever. Anthology's comment, Oh, well, let's dive in. On medieval French heroine branded an insult to strong women throughout history. Yes, and the Telegraph have sort of dug out the usual suspects to jump up and down about it, although my favourite non-suspect was, well, obviously, you see, one of the things about this is you have to have a teacher who's too scared to think out, because otherwise, those peaceniks and Quakers will probably come after them, or, something like that. You know what they're like, vicious types that they are. One teacher said the lesson plan, used by state schools, made an absolute mockery of the profession. In schools today, there is simply far too much identity-first, woke reading material has been foisted on pupils at the expense of established classics like To Kill a Mockingbird or Of Mice and Men. Come back to that in a second. The teacher said, yes. Oddly enough, not Michaela. Not Michaela's school strictest head teacher, Catherine Bersinger. Oddly enough, they managed to, well, I don't know, there's quotation marks here, but it's hard to tell, isn't it? Anyway, we should not lose sight of the fact there are cohorts, dear God, that's more than 3, of teenagers vulnerable to reality-denying nonsense like this when it's presented earnestly, yes. If it's presented unearnestly, presumably it doesn't have the same effect. I'm not really quite sure. Collins was approached for the comment. Yes, we'll come back to Collins in a bit. But I did have to smile at To Kill a Mockingbird and Of Mice and Men, because every once in a while the newspapers will, of course, have a real jump up and down about Of Mice and Men and how much they hate it. But just to dive in very, very slightly further, because, of course, there was that whole thing about comment. So let's see exactly what we're dealing with here. And it's this book, which you can get on Amazon. It's pretty expensive, and I doubt very much if many teachers are going to buy them. But anyway, in the Who We Are anthology, published by Collins, which is made up of representative and inclusive contemporary texts. Oh no! Imagine teaching kids something that's, relevant and up to date. Jesus, it never ends, does it? A lesson plan includes, oh dear God, a biography that reads, Joan of Arc, 1412 to 31, is today considered by some to have been non-binary. Yes, indeed. So you can see the whole thing about this, all of this jumping up and down. I mean, Daily Mail included, although they do actually manage to say that it's English lessons, not history, but this entire thing is due to a small comment on a non-standard texts for use in English lessons. Now, I'm willing to bet, with my vague knowledge of what I'm talking about, that the number of exact children that have come in contact with this lesson is certainly a lot less than the vast cohorts that anonymous teacher's been going on about, right? In fact, there's a very good chance that no one in the UK has actually been exposed to any of these materials. And anyway, someone like me would say, if they had been, what then? Yeah? Would they think to themselves, oh, well, actually, if Joan of Arc was non-binary, I can find myself fully identifying with a teenage girl during, medieval Europe, and therefore I think, even though these kind of things are hardwired into us, like heterosexuality and others, that I will decide to become non-binary. Yes. Because, of course, the world does work like that, doesn't it? Yes. Now, you might say, well, okay then, but it's still bad. How? How exactly? Present me with the lesson that's actually happened. Present me with the child that's been persuaded about anything. Oh, well, it's just about, a sort of general thing. Yes, isn't it? It's just a general thing. It's just a general way of trying to make sure that people like me don't ever do things that the Daily Telegraph, the Reform Party, or other people don't want us to do. It's that whole classic kind of electric fence notice that you have to just jump up and down about this. But by God, you've got to be going to be looking at a non-standard anthology, which very few people are going to use, and then go through the biography of aforementioned lesson. No talk about it being taught at all, you'll notice, to get to this. And I'll go back to my central point, okay? Being taught things is very different from them being mentioned, okay? And I always say it, all right, yeah, I do history, and sometimes when I'm doing Nazi Germany, I will point out that Adolf Hitler in 1938 was Time's Man of the Year, and he was very popular in Germany in 1938, as indeed he had a high reputation throughout Western Europe. Now, there's that, which is historical fact, actual historical stuff, not just, something in an English lesson, but actual historical fact. However, how many children, if I mention that to them, will therefore think to themselves, oh, well, I suppose I'll be a Nazi then? Not very cohorts of them. Anyway, just get that off my chest. I hate these stories because it's Section 28 all over again. It's designed so that I will have to think twice about things that I say to people. Oh, good. Policing my thoughts. That sounds like a something that shouldn't be done, isn't it? The thought police. Yes, except okay. It's okay when it's me, because after all, if I don't ever mention anything to children about the world, then magically the world will become okay, won't it? Because that is the way the world works. Yes. Anyway, did have to smile at this yesterday. I was looking at that reform stuff about all of their local election stuff, and there was a thing on Twitter which had this photograph of some very sullen-looking people who volunteered, perhaps foolishly, to deliver leaflets for reform, but it's almost like someone's photoshopped it. It's begging for a caption, so do feel free. Anyway, yeah, do enjoy yourselves whilst you can, because, of course, after Easter, with all these kids deciding to become non-binary, then the very fabric of reality will fall apart. Or maybe not, yes. Still, I wonder what Collins have got to hide. I noticed in the newspaper articles Collins didn't get back to people. No, they probably packed up shop for the weekend, like sensible people. Dear God, though, the frothing at the mouth of these people. Don't they have anything better to do? And the answer, for most of them, is no, they really don't. They really don't, yeah? They're retired and they stay at home, and if they really, really, really want to get out there, they can decide to spend a weekend delivering leaflets for reform. But I don't think that's going to last very long either. Anyway, do have a glorious one if you can. And if you can't, well, I don't know, buck your ideas up. There you go.